Hey everyone, it's Jeff Fisher of High School Football America. The guy on the other side of the box has a rooting interest, as most of us do, in the Super Bowl on Sunday. He had the pleasure when he was at Fayetteville. He's currently at Whitehall High School in Arkansas of coaching two 49ers. Pretty good program at Fayetteville with these young men who have now progressed up the ladder into the NFL. Dre Greenlaw, the star linebacker for the 49ers, and the Niners third string backup quarterback Brandon Allen will be playing in the game on Sunday. And I asked Coach to join me to talk about their time as Bulldogs. Thanks for taking the time, Coach.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's when you think about it, I've done this pretty much for the better part of the last 10 years, where I try and find one school that's got more than one guy playing. A couple of years ago, a guy from South Carolina had three,
Oh,
and he just couldn't believe it. Well, what was your thought when you realized that you're going to have a couple of former players playing in the Super Bowl?
well, it's kind of funny because the last couple of years, when Brandon was with the Bengals, the Bengals were right there making to the championship games, and the 49ers were with Dre. So I really thought this was going to happen a couple of years ago. And then when Brandon got traded to the 49ers or signed with the 49ers, I definitely thought there was a chance. And so my wife is a huge 49ers fan. I grew up as a Cowboys fan, so I didn't start loving the 49ers really until just about 4 or 5 years ago when Dre got there. But we were cheering loud for them, and when the final seconds ticked off, I told her, I said, man, we need to go to the Super Bowl. Then I looked at the prices. I was like, okay, we're not going to the Super Bowl, but we're going to have a big Super Bowl party to cheer on the 49ers.
I love it. And yeah, that Cowboys 49ers thing back in the day, I'm an old guy too. Back then you didn't, if you were a Cowboys fan, you were for the Niners, right?
Yeah, you didn't root for the Niners ever.
Well, take me back into the day. As I said, you had a lot of success with those guys in the program, and let's take it one at a time. However you want to go.
Okay.
Let's start with Brandon, since he's got the guy that doesn't get as much publicity. What do you remember about him when he was on the field with you and you were coaching him up?
Like I said earlier, I mean, I would love to say that he couldn't play at all. We had to teach him everything. But he comes from a football family. He had already been taught a lot from his dad, Bobby, and who was a coach for the Razorbacks. So when I started working with him, kind of at those quarterback school morning workouts when he was in eighth and ninth grade and everything, I knew how special he was. And when we got him in high school, he started as a sophomore for us. His first game, we go up and play a Jeff City team out of Missouri that at the time was ranked number one up there. And he threw for, probably 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. I'm like, we got us a ball player here. And he never ceased to amaze me. He was very focused on the task at hand. He always prepared like he was a college quarterback. I mean, he was very prepared for every situation. And you didn't see a lot of joking around, goofing off. He was always pretty serious. And I can't tell you. I mean, there was 4 or 5 games going into the last minute of the game. We're down, and he had to find a way to lead us to victory, and he did every time. He was just that type of player and a great leader. And I think if you ask any of the players that ever played with him, it didn't matter if he was a sophomore or a junior. They were going to tell you he was our leader of that football team, and but I was very blessed and lucky to coach him.
No doubt about that. And Dre, I know he was not a linebacker when he first started. I think I read he was more in the secondary at some point early in
Yeah.
his high school career. Talk a little bit about him.
Okay, Dre. Let's kind of go back. Let's turn it around a little bit. Dre, kind of, his background is very well documented. He got in trouble quite a bit in ninth grade. He was a kid that was not focused, was not serious. He came from a foster home, some tough situations, living in conditions for sure. And so when we got him in 10th grade, Brian and Nancy Shirley, Brian was my defense coordinator. They kind of started becoming foster parents to him and gave him that stable environment and a stable home life that he desperately needed. And so his sophomore year, we put him at cornerback. He was probably too aggressive to be a cornerback. He was always looking to make the big hit or eyes in the backfield, but he played well for us, helped us win a state championship. The next year, we went to a 4-2-5 defense, and Coach Early and I, we were talking, and we said we need to put our best guy back here at the safety position. And we said, let's give Dre a shot. And for 2 years, Dre, man, he earned the nickname Big Play Dre. Sometimes he may not be in the position he should have been in, but it was always a position where the ball was at, and he made play after play after play. And again, I wish I could say that we coached him and taught him everything, but he had a lot of just natural God-given ability, and took it and ran with it, and used his past as a motivator to great success and where he's at now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. What both of these guys have accomplished to get up there, and I think that's something that I like to point out too about the it doesn't always have to start right, but football can give you a lot. And I'd love for you as a long timer in the profession to talk a little bit about how you view your job in the profession as a coach and what football can do for young men, as you just stated how much it helped Dre.
Well, and by no means am I knocking badminton and pickleball and those other sports, but there's not a better sport than football to teach life lessons to young men. You have to learn perseverance, overcoming adversity, how to work as a team, and I could go on and on and on. And football is just that sport. And when I first got in it, I wanted to make a difference in young men's lives and kind of give back, like the coaches before me had done to me. And that's what we've done. I've been very successful. I've had a lot of really good coaches and players that we've won a lot of games. But the biggest thing is to make a difference and help promote these young men and to become better husbands, fathers, sons. And when they leave here, to make sure they can go out there and be a success in society.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know you're at Whitehall, as I said, right now. Fayetteville was I'm not how many years ago it was, about 6 or 7 or 8 right now
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
But just for the people that are watching this, Fayetteville is a great program. Everybody knows
Right.
Fayetteville for the university and all that. But can you talk a little bit about the history of that program? I know you're not there anymore, but kind of put it in perspective. 4 championships, I believe, is what you won there.
Yeah, so when I got hired in 2003, Fayetteville was not a football school. It was more of a baseball, basketball school, and the last conference championship, I believe, was in they'd won was a coach champ in the mid '80s, but it was like 1979. And so the first year I got up there, we only had about 50 players on the team. The coaching staff, we got out there and started looking in the old junior high programs to see who was not playing. Very proud of those guys. That we started going door to door. I mean, it was like in-home visits, and we got a lot of kids back out that first year. Had about 100 players, and had the two. I think obviously the two best players in the state that year were at Fayetteville, and so that first year we won conference for the first time, and that kind of created a lot of buy-in for sure. And then from there, you could slowly see it kind of turn from a baseball, basketball school into a football school. And in 2007, we won our first state championship. And then 2010, 11, 12, 14, and 15, we played for a state championship, winning 3 more and finishing runner-up twice. So in a span of about, like I said, 7 or 8 years, we'd already played for 6 state championships where we had never played for one prior to that. And again, that's good talent coming through. That's really good coaching staff that we had. And I thought we did a good job of player development, really kids coming in, paying the price, maybe not playing much until their senior year. And those kids always contributed. So it was a bunch went into it, but you look now, I mean, since 2016, they've won another one in 16, played for another one, I think in maybe 21. And then this past year could be the best Fayetteville team ever. They went undefeated. Casey Dick did a great job. Those guys, and they beat Bentonville in the state championship game.
Yeah, no, I knew about that. They were in the High School Football America 300 national rankings powered by NFL
Right.
Flag Football. So know how well they did this past year. Put on your ambassador hat right now. I'm not being disrespectful, right? But when people talk about high school football, the states that come up there, right? There's that place close by, Texas, and the Floridas and the Southern Californias and Florida. But I'd love for you to put on the ambassador hat and talk about Arkansas high school football right now, the state of, if you will. How good do you think it is? I know it's improving dramatically, but could you give people around the nation a kind of a peek into it?
You betcha. I mean, Arkansas football, I think for the last 15, 20 years has been really good. It's just, we just don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers of a Texas for sure, Louisiana, Georgia, South Carolina, etc. But we've got really good football coaches in the state from top to bottom. I was lucky enough years ago that I was a head coach for Team USA for 3 different years, and I had a chance to coach with coaches from across this country, and Arkansas coaches held their own. We got a lot of good coaches. We've got a lot of good talent in the state right now. You've got schools like Brown, which was a 5-time state champion under Buck James. That program is solid. They could compete with anybody in the nation and have do it respectfully. And then he's moved on to Conway. You can see Conway turning into another Bryant. He's got the numbers, facilities, etc. Then you have Northwest Arkansas. You got Fayetteville, Bentonville. Those two teams are continuously in the top, 2 or 3 in the state year in, year out. And then you've got some schools, your Shiloh Christians, your Pulaski Academies, Little Rock Christian, and Little Rock Parkview that they're creating some super teams. Little Rock Parkview under Brad Bowden, they may be one of the top teams in the nation this year. They've probably 7, 8, 9 D1 prospects. They're going to be very tough to beat. And obviously, we're at Whitehall. We're in the same classification as Little Rock Parkview. So hopefully, if we do our job and we get there, we're going to make sure their bus doesn't flat tire or something, because they're very talented.
Yeah, we've had Parkview was the #1 team in our national rankings last year as far as from your state. I think they were somewhere just outside of the top 100. So, like I said,
they were very good, very good.
And I'm glad for the little tip on the inside there as we put together our algorithm to look at the preseason rankings where they are. Now, as I mentioned, you're at Whitehall right now, and kind of a unique situation there that has an NFL tie to it. Some tragedy obviously befell the program last year, and you're now taking over a year later. I just would love to hear a little bit of an update on how the program's doing, how the kids are doing, how the community's doing, because that was a tough one when they lost head coach.
Right. Yeah. Being on the outside last year at Little Rock, when Ryan passed away, Ryan Mallett, it broke our heart. He was a legend in this state. What he did for the University of Arkansas, I mean, he'll be a Razorback hero in the eyes of everybody for forever. And when he passed away, I just knew. I said, man, those kids down there, they've gone through a lot, because they had lost a player, a teammate, just a month earlier, the night before graduation. So that was 2 really big tragedies there in about a short period of time. I knew that these kids would be tough and resilient from everything I'd heard when the job came up and I was going after it. I knew that this community was tough. They were really close, especially after that, and something I kind of wanted to be a part of. And I really respected these coaches, faculty members, kids, about how tough it was, and my admiration was through the roof. And I just wanted to be a part of it. And I'm just excited to have this opportunity to lead these young men, be a part of this community, be a part of this staff, faculty and staff, a bunch of great people. And it's just blue collar, down to earth, good salt to the earth people, and the kids work extremely hard, and good things are going to happen for this program. And we'll always remember, Ron Mallett. He started laying the groundwork here.
Yeah, such a tragic story there, but have no doubt you're going to help these guys through it and bring them through. As we go away here, this is what I do with all these interviews that we do at this time of the year, going into the Super Bowl. I think I know who you're rooting for, but want to give me a pick or something? Score?
Yeah, I'm going to say the 49ers are going to win this thing. I think it's going to be a big defensive stop late in the game. I think number 57 for the 49ers is going to make some big play, and he may be the MVP, saying he's going to go to Disneyland.
Number 57. I wonder who that is. Anyway, yeah. Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time here, and wish you nothing but joy watching that game on Sunday. I know if Brandon gets in, that's probably not a good thing unless it's a complete blowout, right? To get to the third string quarterback, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I'm so happy for Brandon. And Brandon is so typical. I've kind of texted back and forth with Dre a little bit. So Dre's still kind of out there this week, especially last week, on the phone. I've texted Brandon 3 or 4 times. Not a word. He's got it on silent. He's focused on the game, preparing just like he's a starter, like I know he would. And hopefully I'd love to see him get in there. But he also went with the Rams back, 4 or 5 years ago. I think he's on the practice squad, and then, he went with the Bengals. So he's had a great career to go to 3 Super Bowls. That's awesome. So just proud of Brandon, very proud of Dre. Love both of them, and I'm pulling for those 49ers.
And isn't it neat that both guys keep in touch with you, even though Brandon's taking the low road there to make sure he's focused on Sunday. That's really cool.
They know their coach loves them, and I just like I said, I don't get to talk to them as much as I'd like to. I'd like to talk to them all the time, but they've made me proud, and I knew they would, and I just wish them nothing but the best.
Well, congratulations, Coach. Thank you for what you do for all the kids at the schools that you've been at there. It's important, as I said to you before we rolled the tape here. Respect the heck out of the coaching profession. You guys don't make a whole lot of money. You get yelled at here and there and all that, but man, there's a lot of young men out there and girls at this point that are lucky to be around people in this profession that do special things with a special sport. So thank you for doing that through the years.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.